The assignment refused. The city lights sparkled like scattered diamonds 2 floors below Sofiya's penthouse window. At 2 in the morning, most people were asleep, dreaming safe dreams. But Sofiya sat awake in her silk pajamas, staring at those lights like they held answers to questions she was afraid to ask. She heard him before she saw him. A whisper of movement on her balcony, so quiet most people would have missed it. But Sofiya had spent her whole life listening for danger. It was a survival skill when your father was Vincent Romano, the man who controlled half the crime in New York. When the shadow moved through her bedroom door, she didn't scream. She simply turned her head and looked at the man holding a gun with a silencer attached to the end. Their eyes met, and the world seemed to stop spinning. FAIZE had killed 47 people in his career as an assassin. He never hesitated, never questioned, never felt anything but the cool focus of completing a job. But now, staring at the woman sitting calmly by the window, his hand began to shake. He knew those eyes, brown and fierce and unforgettable. 7 years ago, he'd been shot 3 times after a job gone wrong. He'd dragged himself into an alley, bleeding out, certain he was going to die alone on cold concrete. Then a college student with a backpack full of textbooks had found him. She'd called an ambulance, pressed her jacket against his wounds, and stayed with him even though he told her to run. She never asked questions, never demanded answers, just saved his life and disappeared before the paramedics arrived. "You," he whispered, the gun lowering an inch without his permission. Sofiya's lips curved into something too sad to be called a smile. "I knew someone would come eventually. My father has too many enemies. I just never thought it would be you." For 10 seconds, neither of them moved. The air between them felt heavy with the weight of an old debt and a present impossibility. "Why did you save me that night?" FAIZE asked. It wasn't the question a professional assassin should ask the target he was supposed to kill. Because nobody deserves to die alone in the street like a dog. Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled slightly in her lap. Everyone deserves at least one person who cares they're dying. Something inside FAIZE cracked. A wall he'd built over years of killing, of not caring, of being the weapon someone else aimed. This woman had given him mercy when she had no reason to. And now he was supposed to kill her. He lowered the gun completely. Scene 2. The impossible negotiation. Sofiya stood slowly, moving toward her small bar cart like they were old friends meeting for drinks instead of a killer and his target meeting in the middle of the night. She poured 2 glasses of whiskey with hands that barely shook. "I know why you're here," she said, handing him a glass. "My father's empire is built on bones and blood. I've been collecting evidence to destroy it all. Someone found out." FAIZE took the whiskey but didn't drink. "Then you know I'm supposed to kill you." "Yes." She sat on the edge of her bed, looking tired and young despite being 28 years old. "But you're here talking instead of shooting, so something changed." He explained his situation in short, careful sentences. This was his final contract. His ticket out of the assassination network. Retirement. A new life somewhere quiet where he could forget the 47 faces that haunted his sleep. But if he didn't complete the job, the network would assume he'd been compromised. They'd send someone else for both of them. "How much time do you need?" he asked. Sofiya blinked. "What? You said you're collecting evidence. How much more time do you need?" "Maybe a week. There are files I haven't copied yet. Recordings I need to enhance." "But why would you? You saved my life once." FAIZE set down his glass. "I'm returning the favor. Then we're even." That was a lie, and they both knew it. This was more than repaying a debt. Somewhere in the 7 years since that alley, he'd thought about her, wondered who she was. Why someone so young had such steady hands when faced with so much blood. They made a plan born of desperation and dangerous hope. They would fake her death convincingly enough to fool everyone. She'd get the evidence she needed. He'd help her because it was the right thing to do, and because something in her reminded him of himself, someone trying to escape a bloody legacy they never wanted. When she handed him a flash drive with the evidence she'd already gathered, their fingers touched. The contact was brief, barely a second, but it sent electricity through FAIZE's entire body. 7 years of wondering crystallized into something immediate and dangerous. Neither of them acknowledged it, but neither of them pulled away as quickly as they should have. Scene 3. Death staged, life complicated. The abandoned warehouse district smelled like rust and old rain. Dawn was breaking pink and gold over the buildings, painting everything in soft colors that seemed wrong for what they were about to do. FAIZE had contacts from his years in the network. people who owed him favors. It took 3 phone calls to acquire what they needed: a body from the morgue, a Jane Doe who died with no family to claim her, explosives, equipment to plant DNA evidence. Sofiya watched him work with a mixture of horror and fascination. He moved with practiced efficiency, setting charges, arranging the scene, positioning security cameras at exact angles. "You've done this before," she said quietly. "Not exactly this, but similar." He didn't look at her, focusing on the detonator in his hands. "Are you sure about this? Once we do this, there's no going back. You'll be dead to everyone you know." "I've been dead inside for years," Sofiya said. "Ever since I watched my father murder my mother and call it a heart attack. This is just making it official." FAIZE looked up at that, seeing her truly for the first time. Not as a target or a debt to repay, but as someone carrying the same kind of damage he carried. Someone who understood that sometimes the only way to escape was to burn your old life to ashes. The explosion was controlled but spectacular. Fire and smoke billowed into the dawn sky. The security camera he deliberately left working caught Sofiya's figure in the warehouse moments before the blast. The audio picked up her scream. They watched from 3 blocks away, sitting in a nondescript sedan with fake license plates. Sofiya wore a wig and sunglasses now. She looked like a stranger. "Why did you really say no?" she asked quietly, staring at the smoke rising in the distance. "You could have killed me, taken your retirement, but you didn't." FAIZE started the car, pulling into traffic. In the rearview mirror, their eyes met. He saw fear and hope, and something else he didn't want to name in her gaze. "I don't know," he lied. But he did know. He knew the moment he saw her face. The moment their eyes met and 7 years of wondering became 7 seconds of certainty. He knew because for the first time in his career, he'd looked at a target and seen a person instead of a job. They had 72 hours before someone verified the body and discovered the truth. 72 hours before both of their old lives caught up with them. As they drove toward the safe house he'd prepared in the mountains, neither of them spoke. But in the silence, something was shifting. The weight of an old debt was transforming into something neither of them could name yet. Something dangerous. Something like hope. The cabin. Learning to coexist. The cabin in the Adirondack Mountains was small and rustic. 1 bedroom with a creaky bed. A living room with a wood-burning stove. A kitchen barely big enough for 2 people. No cell phone service. No internet except for the satellite connection Sofiya needed for her work. FAIZE took the couch without discussion. It was too short for his frame, and the springs dug into his back, but he'd slept in worse places. Much worse. Sofiya set up her laptop on the small kitchen table and worked frantically. She barely slept, barely ate, just stared at screens full of ledgers, recordings, shipping manifests that mapped her father's criminal empire across 3 continents. "You need to eat," FAIZE said on the second day, setting a plate of eggs and toast beside her laptop. "I'm not hungry. Eat anyway. You're no good to anyone if you collapse." She glared at him but picked up the fork. After the first bite, she realized she was starving. She ate everything on the plate while FAIZE watched with something like satisfaction. They developed a rhythm over the next few days. He cooked, surprisingly well, Spanish food his grandmother had taught him before she died. Rice and beans, chicken with sofrito, plantains fried until golden. She worked, her fingers flying across the keyboard, organizing years of carefully gathered evidence. At night, neither of them could sleep. The cabin was too quiet, too isolated. Every sound outside could be enemies closing in. So they sat by the fire instead, 2 people who should have been strangers but weren't, sharing the silence. "Why did you become a hitman?" Sofiya asked on the 4th night, her face lit by flickering flames. FAIZE stared into the fire, remembering things he usually kept locked away. Foster care system. In and out of homes where nobody wanted me. Got into fights. Ended up in juvenile detention. When I aged out, I joined the military. Got good at following orders. Got better at killing. Then I got discharged for questioning a commanding officer's illegal orders. "So you became an assassin?" "Limited options for someone with my skills and my record." He shrugged. "The network found me. Offered good money. Clean exits. I told myself I was only killing bad people. That made it easier." "Were they? Bad people?" "Some of them. Most of them." He paused. "I stopped asking after the first year." Sofiya was quiet for a long moment. Then she asked, "Do you regret it?" "Every day." The admission surprised him. He never talked about regret. Never let himself feel it. "Your turn." Why betray your father? Her face went hard. I was 16. I came home early from school and found my mother at the bottom of the stairs. Broken neck. My father standing at the top, perfectly calm. He told me she fell. Told me to call it an accident. Told me that if I ever said otherwise, I'd join her. But you knew. I saw the bruises on her arms where he grabbed her. Saw the look in his eyes. He murdered her because she was planning to leave him, and he couldn't stand losing control. Sofiya's voice was flat, emotionless, the way people sound when they're talking about trauma too big to process. I've been planning this since that day, collecting evidence, waiting for the right moment. FAIZE looked at her with new understanding. She wasn't just a mob princess trying to rebel. She was a survivor with a mission. Someone who'd spent 12 years preparing to destroy the man who killed her mother. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "Don't be sorry. Help me finish it." In that moment, sitting by the fire with the weight of their shared damage between them, FAIZE felt something shift. He'd seen Sofiya as a debt to repay, then as a job to complete or not complete. Now he saw her as what she truly was. Someone like him, trying to survive impossible circumstances. Someone worth protecting. Scene 2. Teaching and trust. On the 5th day, FAIZE took Sofiya into the woods behind the cabin. He carried a pistol and a box of ammunition. "If we're going to be running from people who want to kill us, you need to know how to defend yourself," he said. "My father never let me carry a gun," Sofiya said, staring at the weapon with a mixture of fear and fascination. "He said women didn't need to protect themselves. That's what men were for. Your father was a controlling bastard." FAIZE handed her the pistol. "The safety is here. Never point it at anything you don't want to destroy. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot." He set up targets on trees, water bottles, and old cans. Then he stood behind her, his chest against her back, his arms guiding hers into the proper stance. Feet shoulder-width apart. Bend your knees slightly. Both eyes open. Breathe out slowly and squeeze. Don't pull the trigger. His hands were gentle on her wrists, adjusting her grip. His breath was warm against her ear. Sofiya tried to focus on the target, but all she could feel was the solid presence of him behind her, surrounding her, making her feel safe in a way she'd never felt before. She squeezed the trigger. The gun kicked in her hands. The water bottle exploded. "Good," FAIZE said, and she could hear the smile in his voice. Again, she fired 5 more times, hitting 4 out of 6 targets. When she turned to look at him, grinning with surprised pride, he was smiling back. A real smile that transformed his usually serious face into something younger, lighter. "You're terrifying," he said, and it sounded like a compliment. "I learned from the best criminals in New York," she countered. Later that afternoon, she taught him how to use encrypted communication networks and digital forensics tools. He was impressed by her technical knowledge, the way she could navigate systems and cover digital tracks with expert precision. "Where did you learn all this?" he asked, watching her fingers fly across the keyboard. "YouTube, mostly, and a hacker I hired when I was 19. She grinned at his expression. "What? You think I just magically knew how to bring down a criminal empire? I had to teach myself." They were 2 experts from completely different worlds, discovering respect and admiration for each other's skills. He knew violence and survival. She knew technology and strategy. Together, they were formidable. That night, Sofiya made coffee the way FAIZE liked it, strong, black, with 1 sugar, without asking how he preferred it. He noticed, just like he noticed that he'd checked her bedroom door 3 times to make sure it was locked. Even though they were miles from anyone, they were learning each other's habits, adapting to each other's presence. And somewhere in that adaptation, something was growing that neither of them wanted to name. Scene 3. The first crack in the armor. The thunderstorm hit on the 8th night without warning. Rain hammered the roof like bullets. Lightning split the sky. Then the power went out, plunging the cabin into darkness. FAIZE found candles and lit them, placing them around the living room. Sofiya emerged from the bedroom in sweatpants and one of his t-shirts she'd borrowed, looking young and vulnerable in the flickering light. They sat on the floor by the cold stove, surrounded by candles, listening to the storm rage outside. "I've never been in a real relationship," Sofiya said suddenly, hugging her knees to her chest. "My father controlled everything. He vetted every friend I had, scared away anyone who tried to date me. By the time I was 20, I realized it was easier to be alone than to watch him destroy anyone who got close to me." FAIZE understood that kind of isolation. You don't maintain friendships in my line of work either. Everyone's either a liability or a target. It's safer to not care about anyone. So what is this? Sofiya asked, gesturing between them. What are we doing here? Survival partnership, FAIZE said automatically. But the words felt wrong the moment they left his mouth. This was more than survival, more than a debt being repaid. This was two people who'd spent their whole lives alone, suddenly discovering what it felt like to be seen by someone else. Sofiya reached across the small space between them and took his hand. Her fingers were warm, her grip surprisingly strong. Thank you, she said quietly, for not killing me, for seeing me, for treating me like I'm more than just fire, the mob princess everyone's afraid of. FAIZE looked down at their joined hands. He should pull away, should maintain professional distance. But he couldn't make himself let go. You are more, he said. You're Sofiya, the woman who saved a stranger's life because it was the right thing to do. The woman who spent 12 years planning to destroy her father's empire even though it might destroy her too. You're brave and smart and stronger than anyone I've ever met. Sofiya's eyes filled with tears. I'm terrified, she admitted. Every single day, I'm terrified. I just hide it well. Me too, FAIZE said. And it was the most honest thing he'd said in years. They sat like that for a long time, hands clasped, candles burning low, the storm raging outside, while something gentle and fragile grew between them inside. For the first time in his life, FAIZE felt something beyond the numbness he'd carried for so long. He felt hope, and hope was the most dangerous feeling an assassin could have, because hope made you want things, and wanting things made you vulnerable. But as he sat there holding Sofiya's hand, watching candlelight dance across her face, FAIZE realized he didn't care about the danger anymore. He was already lost. The leak. FAIZE woke on the 8th morning to his burner phone buzzing on the coffee table. Only one person had this number, Marcus, the closest thing FAIZE had to a friend in the assassination network. The message was coded, but the meaning was clear. They know. Body wasn't hers. Both of you are targets. 48 hours max. FAIZE's blood ran cold. 48 hours meant they'd already sent teams, already had people closing in. He found Sofiya at her laptop, but her face was pale, her hands shaking. What's wrong, he asked. Someone tried to hack my system. She pointed at lines of code scrolling across her screen. They got blocked by my security, but they know I'm alive. They know I'm still working. FAIZE showed her the message from Marcus. We need to leave. Now. No. Sofiya's jaw set in a stubborn line he was beginning to recognize. I'm not done. I need one more piece of evidence. Physical ledgers stored in my father's personal safe. Without them, everything I have is circumstantial. Good enough to damage him, but not enough to destroy him. You want to break into your father's estate? FAIZE stared at her like she'd lost her mind. That's suicide. It's necessary. It's insane. We need to run. Get somewhere untraceable. You've already got enough evidence to hurt him. Hurt him isn't enough. Sofiya's voice rose, sharp with frustration. He murdered my mother and got away with it. He's hurt thousands of people and never faced consequences. I need to finish this. And I need you alive. FAIZE shouted back, louder than he'd meant to. They stared at each other, breathing hard, the air between them crackling with tension. You're doing what you always do, Sofiya said quietly, her voice shaking. Taking the easy way out. Running. That's your solution to everything, isn't it? And you're being suicidal, FAIZE countered. Addicted to revenge, just like your father's addicted to power. You'll get yourself killed, and for what? To prove a point. To honor my mother's memory. Your mother would want you alive. The words hung between them, brutal and true. Sofiya's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. Get out, she said softly. Sofiya, get out. Go for a walk. I can't look at you right now. FAIZE grabbed his jacket and left, slamming the door harder than necessary. He walked into the woods, anger and fear churning in his gut. He was falling in love with her. That was the problem. He'd let himself care, let himself hope, and now the thought of her dying was unbearable. But she was right about one thing. Running was what he did best. He'd been running his whole life. Maybe it was time to stop. The failed compromise. FAIZE returned to the cabin 2 hours later, calmer. Sofiya was sitting on the porch steps, her laptop closed beside her. I'm sorry, they both said at the same time. Despite everything, they smiled. I know you're trying to protect me, Sofiya said. But this is my mission, my choice. And I know you need to finish this, FAIZE said, sitting beside her. But not at the cost of your life. They talked for hours, finally reaching a compromise. One quick infiltration during her father's weekly poker game. In and out in 20 minutes. FAIZE would create a distraction while Sofiya accessed the safe. Then they'd disappear. New identities, new lives. Together, they drove 3 towns over to a small diner to plan the details, needing the distance from the cabin to think clearly. But as they sat in a booth going over blueprints of the estate, the world kept intruding. The TV above the counter showed breaking news, a $5 million bounty on information about Sofiya Romano's death. Her father stood at a podium, playing the grieving parent perfectly, his face a mask of sorrow. Sofiya's hands clenched into fists on the table. He's loving this. The attention, the sympathy. Everyone thinks he's a heartbroken father when he's really just angry he lost control of me. FAIZE saw the cold rage in her eyes and recognized it. It was the same fury that had driven him for years. The same need for revenge that had led him to the assassination network. "This isn't about justice anymore," he said quietly. "It's personal. It's always been personal." She looked at him, her eyes hard. "He took my mother from me. I'm taking everything from him." FAIZE wanted to argue, but his burner phone buzzed with another message from Marcus. "Network issued termination order on you. Extreme prejudice. Whatever you're doing, finish it fast." They were out of time. Vulnerability and violation. They checked into a cheap motel that night, paying cash, using fake names. The room was small, with thin walls and a bed that sagged in the middle. They could hear everything from the neighboring rooms, a couple arguing, a baby crying, a TV playing too loud. For the first time, they'd sleep in the same room, same bed. They'd been dancing around each other for 8 days, maintaining careful distance, pretending the electricity between them wasn't growing stronger every moment. They took turns in the bathroom, changing into sleep clothes with backs turned like shy teenagers. FAIZE took the left side of the bed. Sofiya took the right. They lay on their backs, staring at the water-stained ceiling, hyper-aware of every breath the other took. "Are you scared?" Sofiya asked in the darkness. "Terrified." "Me too." They lay in silence, not touching, the space between them feeling like miles instead of inches. At 3 in the morning, Sofiya woke from a nightmare, gasping. In her dream, she was 16 again, standing at the top of the stairs, watching her mother fall, watching her father's cold, satisfied smile. Without thinking, FAIZE turned and pulled her close. His body curved around hers protectively, one arm wrapping around her waist, his chest solid against her back. Sofiya melted into him, her breathing slowing, her racing heart calming. She fit against him perfectly, like they were designed to hold each other. "I've got you," he murmured against her hair. "You're safe." "I don't feel safe," she whispered. "I feel like everything's falling apart." "Then we'll fall apart together." She turned in his arms, and suddenly they were face to face, breath mingling, hearts pounding. The careful distance they'd maintained collapsed in an instant. They almost kissed, mouths inches apart, every cell in their bodies screaming to close the distance. FAIZE stopped himself with visible effort, his jaw clenched, his breathing ragged. "We can't," he whispered. "If I let myself care more than I already do, I'll make mistakes. I'll be thinking about keeping you safe instead of keeping us both alive. And mistakes get us killed." "Too late," Sofiya said, her hand coming up to rest against his chest, feeling his heartbeat racing under her palm. "I already care. I think I started caring 7 years ago in an alley, and I've just been waiting to find you again." FAIZE closed his eyes, fighting a war with himself. Then he kissed her forehead, gentle, reverent, and retreated to his side of the bed. "After tomorrow," he said, his voice rough. "When we're safe, when we're free, then we can have this." Sofiya wanted to argue, wanted to say that they might not survive tomorrow, that waiting might mean never having this at all. But she understood his logic, understood that they needed clear heads for what was coming. So she stayed on her side of the bed, and he stayed on his, and the space between them hurt worse than any rejection. Because they both knew the truth, they were in love. And love made everything more dangerous.